So what is hypnosis? Well, if you look in 10 different places, you're probably going to find 10 different answers to that question. I like to think of hypnosis as a resource state, as an optimal state of learning. It's where the body and the mind are so relaxed that the mind is open and receptive to new learning, new insights, new ideas, and suggestions. Hypnosis is going on all different levels of consciousness all throughout our day. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at advertising, all of the advertising around you. We are bombarded by commercials all throughout our day in all different shape, way, and form. And advertisers understand the power of suggestion. Well, in hypnosis, when you use the power of suggestion, you're using it deliberately to create positive change in your life. It is very effective, it's very safe, it's long lasting, it feels really, really gentle, it feels very good. And it's something, it's a learning state that you can use all by yourself, or you can use a professional to guide you in this process to help you create those suggestions so that you can begin to change your neural net up there in your brain, and you can begin to integrate those powerful, deliberate changes that you want for the kind of life that you deserve. So, in a nutshell, hypnosis is a resource state. It is a learning state. It allows you to create positive suggestions and begin to implement them into your neural net so your brain actually begins to rewire a new programming into it. It's effective, it's safe, it's quick, it feels good. And if you have any more questions about what hypnosis is, give me a call. So, what is hypnosis not? Hypnosis is not mind control. Hypnosis requires your participation. I require my clients to participate in the whole process. All I can do is offer a suggestion. If I offer the suggestion that your eyes are getting heavier and heavier and heavier with every single breath you take, I can't force you to create that. You have to be willing to take on that suggestion. And once you're willing to take on that suggestion, you'll find that your eyes become heavier and heavier and heavier with every breath you take. It's the same thing. The advertisers do the same thing. They offer a suggestion and they're hoping that their suggestion is effective enough that you will act on it. It is the same kind of thing. The only difference is you're in my office or in your own space at your house, and you're very relaxed and it feels very good and it feels very calming. And so why wouldn't you take on those suggestions? It's the same thing on a stage with stage hypnosis. Those people are volunteering, they're willing, they're ready to have fun, they're part of a group, it feels good, they're so relaxed. Why wouldn't they decide to get up and cluck like a chicken or do any one of those other crazy suggestions? That's all it is a suggestion, and it requires your willing participation. So hypnosis is not mind control. It cannot be forced upon you. So why use hypnosis? I love this question. Hypnosis is different. And my clients are telling me all the time, I don't care what the issue is. They're always saying, it's all in my head. It's all in my head. It's all in my head. If I could just get it out of my head. Well, a lot of times what we don't realize is that we've got this awesome, amazing, logical, reasoning, analytical mind. But so much of what we do during the day is driven from our automated and emotional side. And that automated emotional side is driven by the subconscious. Analytical, logical thinking is driven by the conscious mind. So you've got these two parts of your mind. And if they're not in congruency with one another, well, guess what? The subconscious part, the automated part, that's what's going to win all the time. So you got to get your subconscious on board with whatever change you want to create. You know, as things like weight loss. I hear people say all the time, I know I should be eating healthy. I know I should be doing this. I know what I'm supposed to do. I just can't get my mind to cooperate with me. Well, hypnosis can teach you skills and strategies on how to do that, on how to bring this amazing conscious mind and this incredibly powerful automated subconscious mind. You can bring them into congruency with one another, so all the teams are on the same side working towards the same goal, whatever it is that you want to change. It is a powerful, powerful state, and when you understand how to use it properly, then all of a sudden your mind, your head becomes an ally, and it's no longer the enemy. And hypnosis techniques can teach you how to do that. So it's very powerful. What does hypnosis feel like? Hypnosis is very relaxing. I hear from my clients all the time, that was so relaxing. It feels good. It feels very, very gentle. Some examples of what hypnosis feels like is when you've been driving a long time and you're completely unaware of the last 10 miles, and all of a sudden you find yourself asking, well, I hope I didn't do anything stupid back there because I don't remember driving for the last 10 miles. If you've ever had that experience, that's kind of what a hypnotic trance can feel like. Another example is if you go back to when you were in high school and sitting in whatever boring class you were sitting in, and you look out the window and you start to daydream, and you're aware that the teacher's at the front of the room teaching and talking, and it's kind of that Charlie Brown wah 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 voice in the background, but you're so engaged in your imagination and your daydream and what's happening on the outside that you've completely blocked out everything else that's going around you, even though you're still aware of it. It's another example of what hypnosis can feel like. The nice thing is there's really no wrong way to experience. You can't mess it up. Some people feel very, very heavy when they're in a hypnotic state. Some people feel extremely light. Some people hear every single word I say. Some, my voice sounds off, far off into the distance. Some people feel very associated into the whole experience, and some people feel very disassociated. And it can change every single time you are in a hypnotic state. So the important thing is to remember, if you've got expectations about how it should feel, I'd invite you now to just let go of those expectations, because it's going to unfold in whatever way is right and perfect for you. So just be open to the process, be open to the experience, and know there's nothing you can do wrong. You can only get it right as long as you show up with a willingness to participate. That's all you really need. How will I know that I've been hypnotized? Very interesting question. Just because some people come in with an expectation that hypnosis should feel a certain way, and yet if they don't think that they've ever experienced it, how will they know that their expectation is being met? So many times convincers will be used throughout a session. Convincers of where a suggestion is given that your hand begins to rise and rise and rise and rise, and the hand actually begins to rise, and then the client says, oh, I've been hypnotized, because why else would my hand be rising? Or that, the hand is beginning to feel very, very heavy, or different suggestions will be offered for different sensations. At the end of the day, you're going to know that you had a different experience, that you had a hypnotic experience, when you become more aware and you begin to notice how those changes that you deliberately created start showing up in your life. Then you'll know that you've been hypnotized successfully. So it doesn't matter what depth you're at. Again, we can take on any suggestion at any depth of consciousness. We can be fully awake. We can be very, very deep. It really doesn't matter. Your mind is powerful enough to take on a suggestion at any level of consciousness. And so again, just being open to the experience, to see how it's different, to become aware of the changes, begin to notice things. This process is all about waking up. waking up, and becoming a deliberate creator of your life. Does hypnosis wear off? Hypnosis doesn't wear off. It goes back to, again, requiring your participation in this. So when we talk about your neural net and introducing new programming and new ideas, you have to think about how long that old conditioning has taken place. And sometimes change can happen instantaneously, and you get that insight, and that's all you need. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to go through that process of reconditioning the mind and letting that old neural net fall away and building up that new neural net. So as long as you stay engaged in the process, hypnosis does not wear off. Again, if you're looking for the magic wand where all you have to do is sit there and do absolutely nothing, then yes, probably it's not a good fit for you. But if you are a willing participant who wants to experience something different, who is engaged in the process, then you can be assured that hypnosis can create lasting effects, that it can create lasting change, that it is quick, efficient, safe, and effective. Am I asleep in hypnosis? No, you are not asleep. So if you liken it to that time when you're falling asleep at night, where you're not completely awake, but you're not asleep yet, there's that time in between there. And it's the same thing in the morning when you wake up. You're not completely awake yet, but you're not asleep yet either. There's that suspension of time where you just kind of are. And that's what hypnosis is about. So it's not about sleeping at all. And I really like to tell people, this isn't about me putting you to sleep. Again, I require my clients to participate in this whole process. And I really like to think of hypnosis as the process of waking you up to how powerful your mind is, waking you up to the experience of being a creator in your life, a deliberate creator. So you are free to choose what you want to experience instead of just going through the same old automated routine that you've been experiencing. So it's not about sleeping. It's really about waking up to your power, your inner resources. And the nice thing is you just get to sit and relax, and it feels really good while you're doing this. How do I know that I'm a good candidate for hypnosis? Well, first of all, the question sometimes is, how do I know if I can be hypnotized? And that question is, can you follow instructions? Are you a willing participant? And can you breathe? Those are really the only criteria. If you're willing to follow instructions, if you're willing to show up and participate, and you can breathe, then you can be hypnotized. Now, whether you're a good candidate or not kind of depends on your issue. It depends on what you want to achieve, what you want to create. And hypnosis is not limited to just smoking cessation, weight loss, and things like that. Hypnosis, again, it's the power of your mind. So it's really unlimited in the ways that it can be used. I've done sessions with people who want to create more success in their life, who are already successful and they just want to create more success. I've dealt with people who have had sort of what we would consider to be a little strange. I've had clients who all of a sudden found themselves, because of a stressful situation in their life, were unable to swallow food any longer. I've dealt with kids who have had bathroom problems, fear of flying, fear of test taking, fear of elevators. There are all kinds of fears. So I would say the requirements for being a good candidate: are you willing to show up? Are you willing to participate? Are you willing to make the investment of time, money, and energy? And can you follow instructions? Those are the requirements of being a hypnotic candidate. And for specific things about your issue and how long it would take or how many sessions, all of that stuff, you can send directly to me by sending me an email at Kelli, Kelli, at West Metro Hypnosis, or giving me a call. And I would love to discuss your specific situation with you. What can I expect from my investment? At the very least, you can expect an introduction to the power of your own mind. This is hypnosis. And just like any therapist cannot guarantee what is going to do, what is going to happen, and how that therapy is going to change your life, and if you're going to get the expected result, no hypnotist can absolutely 100% guarantee results. However, that being said, I can guarantee that you are going to have a very, very relaxing session. I can guarantee that I'm going to offer skills and strategies and learnings so that you leave my office with tools so that you can practice all of these things, the things that we talk about in my office, that you can practice them yourself. I can guarantee that if you start implementing any of those changes and you're willing to participate over time, you are definitely going to see changes. Because here's the thing about hypnotic work. It infiltrates. It begins to change your neural network. It changes the wiring of your brain. It releases old programming that you have determined you no longer want, that you have determined no longer serves you, and it begins to wire in new programming and new ways of thinking. But again, it requires your participation. If you've been dealing with something for a very, very, very long time, quite possibly it can disappear and dissolve and be healed in an instant, or it could be a longer process. And either way, it requires your participation and your willingness to show up and engage in this whole process. So I hope that answers your question about what can I expect from my investment. If you have any further questions, shoot me a comment, send a question here online, or call me, and I'll do my best to answer that for you. Thanks. Should I stop taking my medication? No, 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 and no. No, you should not stop taking your medication. If you are seeing a medical professional of any kind and you are using hypnosis or any alternative healing modality for that matter, and using it as a supplement to increase your healing or to make changes in your life or to do whatever you're using it for, you must work with that medical professional. Tell them what's going on. Get their buy-in, get their permission, and no, you never, ever, ever change your medical plan without first discussing it with that medical professional who's working in conjunction with you about your health. So I hope I was very, very clear about that. No, you should not stop taking your medication. Is hypnosis an emotional experience? Is it required of me to come in and tell all of my details of my story, of things that have happened? And this is one of the things that I really, really like about hypnosis. I don't need to know all of the details. You know the details. And just recounting the details one more time isn't going to move you forward. And so a lot of the work that is done in hypnosis is so powerful because it can be reconciled in the privacy of your own mind. So my job is to give you those suggestions to guide you to that place so that you can begin to reconcile and recognize that which needs to be healed, no longer focusing on why things happened and what caused this, but allowing the healing process to take place. And I'm not saying that understanding why is a bad thing. It's certainly not a bad thing. But when you only focus on the why of an issue, why do I keep doing this? Why am I feeling this? Why? Why requires you to look into your past. You're having to look backwards to answer that question. And in the work that I do, it's all about understanding that you're having this issue. You have these feelings. That is the reality of it. So what needs to be healed, what needs to be released, what needs to be let go, and what new learning is going to move you forward? What needs to happen to move you forward? How are we going to do this? And this is an interactive exchange, but I don't need to know the details. You don't need to get caught up in the retelling of your story. Isn't it emotional? Well, whenever we release repressed or pent up emotion, it can be emotional. My experience has been that it's a very gentle release, that sometimes people will cry. And again, that's just a natural process of releasing those emotions. So for the most part, it's very, very gentle, and it can be done very, very privately. So if that's a concern to you, um, I always give my clients a suggestion that they are able to share whatever they feel is important to share, or if they're more comfortable with just reconciling that whole issue in the privacy of their own mind, they can do that as well. See, because it's not me doing the work. It's not me doing the work. I'm the guide. You're doing the work. And so you get to determine what you're comfortable with. And I think this is one of the most powerful things about hypnosis. So yes, it can be an emotional process. Is that good, bad? I don't think it's either or. I think it's just what it is. And the nice thing about releasing emotion, releasing pent up emotions, releasing repressed emotions, you now have made room to create what it is that you want to be feeling, that you want to be experiencing. You can get to that place of calm and peace that you've been desiring for so long.